been incompetent. So if we will have any of these IEBC commissioners vetted by the National Assembly, and then later we are told by whoever it will be, whether the president or anybody else, that they were incompetent, Mr. Speaker, we must tell the National Assembly and any other body that vets public officers that they must make sure that everybody is competent, because, Mr. Speaker, we bring shame to Kenyans when we give them a job, they are vetted at the National Assembly and proved to be fit.
Senator John Newton, your time is up. Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine is to briefly comment on the statement for JLAC and to congratulate the nation for moving to where we have reached. Honorable Speaker, it is my hope that very soon the newly appointed members of the IEBC will be vetted and that the officers can begin their work right away. Mr. Speaker, I would want to associate with the comments that it would have been fit, and it should be fit for the Senate to be involved in the vetting of members of the IEBC. The reason that the elections that the IEBC conducts includes elections that affect counties. So the idea of reading one statement, one clause of a constitution as against another, I think is an anomaly that I hope we can move, even as we try to do amendments to the constitution. We can regularize quite a number of these clauses that seem to lock out the Senate in a mandate that naturally involves them. But that aside, Mr. Speaker, I hope that the vetting, the National Assembly can be recalled very soon to clear that team, because the team has a lot of work to do for this country. Mr. Speaker, I served on the Kriegler Commission. And Mr. Speaker, elections are not an event. Election is comprised of a series of activities that do not take 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. It is an exercise that needs to take a lot into account. I'm hoping that my former officer, Ethicon, who was picked as chair, and I can vouch for his competence, will be able to hit the road running very fast and demonstrate to those who think he's incompetent that he's actually a competent officer, and start working with the IBC. He has a lot of work to do. I would say the team should get together quickly, retreat, identify the things that need to be done, and there are many, including registration of voters, including delimitation of boundaries, including the correction of our voter register, and we need, as a country, to rally together to ensure that in the next 11...
Senator Muma, your time is up. Senator Karen Nyamu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to contribute to the statement by Senator Catherine Muma on the spread of cholera across the country. Mr. Speaker, by 6th of April this year, there's been 97 confirmed cases of cholera with 6 fatalities. And 12 of these cases are from Nairobi, with 1 fatality in Nairobi. The cases spread across all our sub-counties: Kasarani, Embakasi East, Embakasi Central, Kibra, and I think Dagoretti South. Mr. Speaker, cholera is a condition that makes you very dehydrated very fast and causes death very quickly. It is very paramount that the Ministry of Health has very quick response to protect the lives of our people. We need them to give us the data, the latest data so far, because if you search, that is the latest data was on 5th April, that is over a month ago. We need to know the measures they're taking to make sure that these outbreaks of cholera are not recurrent. And as you can see, the counties in question are the usual suspects, with Nairobi having recurrent outbreaks every time there's an issue, Nairobi featuring. We would like to know what the ministry is doing to ensure that cholera outbreak is a thing of the past. We need to know what are they doing to sanitization and basically cleanliness. What are they doing in common areas, in our informal settlements? Because we also know it spreads very fast on contact. What are they doing about the people who have been in close contact to the ones who are already infected? And what are they doing to make sure information is out there that we have cholera? And what sensitization are they doing about to the citizens? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, lastly, on comments from statements, I'll allow Senator Wambua to make his last comments. Then we will move to the next business in the order paper. Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will be very brief on my comments. And I want to comment on the statement that you read as chair of JLAC. I've keenly listened to colleagues making reference to the process of the appointment of the new IBC commissioners. A reference has been made to competencies. But the Speaker, from where you sit as chair of JLAC, you now have an opportunity. If this commission will be set up, when it will be set up, to ensure that, Mr. Speaker, the provisions of Article 249 of the Constitution are fully implemented, beginning with this commission. Mr. Speaker, a few minutes ago when we convened in the Senate, there was talk about the place where this institution, this Senate, has been pushed by PSC and by extension by the National Assembly. Even in instances, the Speaker, where there are clear constitutional provisions on how we should transact business as Parliament, I think as a House, we have not fully pulled our weight. On the matter of the budgets for constitutional commissions and independent offices, the Speaker, the Senate must have a say. And it's very clear, the Speaker, Article 249(3), that Parliament shall allocate adequate funds to enable each commission and independent office to perform its functions, and the budget of each commission and independent office shall be a separate vote. Which means, the Speaker, that when it comes to the budget-making process for all the constitutional commissions and independent offices, the Senate must be involved. As Speaker, on this matter, I want to plead with you as the chair of your committee and other chairs of other committees where you have independent commissions to ensure that in the budget-making process, from the beginning to the end, the Senate is part of that process. That means, the Speaker, we begin then to occupy our rightful space in the legislature of the Republic of Kenya. The Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Wambua. Now, honorable members, that brings us to the end of comments to the statements. And I'll direct the clerk to call the next order. Members, order number 9 had previously been called out and a vote was carried. So I will direct that the next order be called out again. Sorry, I will, for purposes of convenience of the House, I will defer order number 10, order number 11, order number 12, and order number 12, because these bills are for division and we do not have the numbers to go to division. Clerk, call order number 13.
Order number 13, the Creative Economy Support Bill, Senate Bills number 30 of 2024, second reading, resumption of debate.
When the House rose on 7th of May 2025, Senator Eddy, who is the mover of this bill, was on the floor, and you have got 53 minutes, Senator Eddy, to continue moving your motion. Please proceed. Senator Eddy, proceed to move your bill.
Mr. Speaker, I'm a very focused senator, and we should help Senator Cherargei to understand that. Part of focus is consultation, and I want to appreciate the VIP in the House, Senator Crystal Asige, who has been very, very important in terms of just helping out with this bill. Right from the time that I conceived the idea, Senator Crystal Asige has been very available in terms of consultation and giving a lot of feedback in it. And I was also very blessed to the fact that Senator Asige was actually a member of trade committee that looked into this bill, and we spent a lot of time together with Senator Asige, the former chair, Senator Seki, Senator, the good Senator, Senator Montet, Senator Okia Umtata, were among people who helped me so much when I went to the trade committee last year. And Mr. Speaker, it's important to say that even in this reformation of, or rather reorganization of committees, Senator Ezio Kenyuri has been very important in helping with the input of this bill, as well as the members of the trade committee as constituted now as led by Senator Issa Juma Boy. And Mr. Speaker, this is a very great bill in my view because of that consultation and because of that input, because it's a bill that is seeking to find a long-lasting solution to what creatives are facing in this economy, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the first thing that we found as a problem is that when people think creatives, they think most of the time in our economies, mostly because of culture and sometimes lack of understanding of what opportunities lie in the creative industry. People in the creative industry are sometimes seen as people who do not succeed in the traditional modes of survival. Among them in academic world include things like studying engineering, studying law, studying medicine, or generally not actually being able to go to school, to the extent that there has not been a profound investment. There has not been a profound investment in making sure that the people in our economy can understand, one, that the creative industry is so vast beyond just the idea of music, film, and sometimes performing arts. Secondly, there has not been a pronounced investment in making sure that our children understand that the creative industry is also an industry that you can be able to make a long-lasting career, a professional career. And thirdly, Mr. Speaker, there has not been a proper investment to make sure that the creative industry can be a place to make commercial viability projects, to invest in business cases and make sure that actually young people can make economic well-being from the creative industry. And not only young people, Mr. Speaker, because we have also seen older people in the arts and the older people in the craft, older people publishing books, but there is no big investment in the business case. So the first thing that this bill seeks to change is that attitude and mindset on creatives as a place for last resort. And that starts by us as a house being able to move any issues that affect creatives from the Ministry of Culture to the Ministry of Trade, where we can actually be able to make a business case, a career case for creatives. The second thing that this bill seeks to deal with, Mr. Speaker, is there are a number of laws that are put to respond to problems of creatives. I'll mention some of them due to pressure of time because I don't want to monopolize the conversation on this bill. I would want to hear from senators. But there are overarching issues that creatives do face in the industry that sometimes become difficult to deal with just by simple aspect of laws, because you end up having people writing laws that are not sensitive to the industry. And some of these issues, Mr. Speaker, I'll mention them just quickly. The issues of royalties. How are creatives earning in the creative industry? The issues of IP, intellectual property rights. How are creatives ensuring that copyright laws are up to date, not only to the local changing environment, but to the emerging complexity at a global stage? The issues of distribution. Creatives are based on content distribution. How are issues of content handled by law to make sure that creatives don't lose in terms of ownership of this content, but also just being able to earn from these contents? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, for today, the issues of contracts. Our creatives left to legal binding documentations that ensures that they're not exploited in the course of producing and selling and earning from their sweat in terms of the product that they've developed in the entire creative industries. So, Mr. Speaker, if you look at something like royalties alone, Mr. Speaker, digital disruption alone has made it so impossible for young people and even older people in the creative industry to find a way of having transparency and even efficiency in terms of collecting their royalties. The payment systems sometimes are very complex, but even where they're not complex, the multi-faceted nature of jurisdictions makes it impossible for creatives to be able to get more money, or even, not even just about more money, but adequate resources that are commensurate to the product that they give in the marketplace. If you look at, for instance, industrial policies that affect collaboration as well as technology across our borders, Mr. Speaker, they are generally ambiguous, they are generally vague, and most importantly, where our laws do not go, for instance, in places like Ireland, where Facebook is based, then we have got no power of making sure that credit can be able to earn from these places. And Mr. Speaker, I learn very frequently that there are constant reviews on legal frameworks and even multi-stakeholder engagements that are emerging all over the world. The legal frameworks that are in the US, that sometimes our creatives find themselves in some of these platforms, and those that are in China, for instance, where TikTok emerged. Mr. Speaker, they are so complex that those constant reviews cannot just happen when you pass just one law that deals with issues of royalties. And Mr. Speaker, among other things that makes it even more complex is that when you think about royalties, even in music industry, for instance, there are so many intermediaries that affect how creatives end up earning. For instance, Mr. Speaker, record labels, publishers, and performance rights organizations are so many within our borders that even if you are to just pass one single law on royalties, Mr. Speaker, it becomes impossible for young people who are in the music industry and even other industries that have the same intermediaries to be able to get what belongs to them. Mr. Speaker, you'll realize that across board, be it in music, be it in film, be it in performing arts, you are
au Rwanda.
Having gone through that, I would like now want to invite on stage Michelle Omuruji, Chief Investment Officer at Rwanda Development Board. Please join me in welcoming Michelle.
Your Excellencies, distinguished CEOs, partners in Africa's future, fellow Rwandans, good morning. Good morning. It's a great honor for me to speak with you today. We're here because something deeper is happening across this continent. A quiet but really steady conviction is at root, and that conviction is really simple. Africa's future must be owned, built by Africans, and really financed by Africans. Rwanda is ready not only to contribute, but to lead where it can. I'm going to walk you through the Rwanda's journey from where we started to
Senate, even where and considered legislative. During the period under review, the committee held a total of 17 sittings, during which it considered 2 legislative proposals, 4 bills, 3 petitions, a sessional paper on public participation, as well as other legislative businesses, including the implementation of the resolution of the Senate of 24th of July 2024 on the current state of the nation. On legislative proposals, Mr. Speaker, the committee concluded consideration of the following 2 of the 2 remaining petitions. Mr. Speaker, on statements, 4 statements were ongoing from the previous reporting period, and 2 statements were sought from the committee during the period under review. The committee is in the process of considering the statements to conclusion, and it is in this regard that has made arrangements for engagement with the respective senators, stakeholders, and where necessary, conduct site or county visits to ascertain the situation on the ground. Mr. Speaker, sir, 2 new statements during the period under review were sought by Senator Professor Tom Agenda, Senior Counsel, MP, and Senator Rafael Timera, and both touch on the affairs of the judiciary. In order to expedite the consideration of these statements, the committee is presently pursuing responses from the relevant officers in the judiciary and shall shortly submit its report. On inquiry, Mr. Speaker, the committee is currently considering 1 inquiry sought by Senator Catherine Muma, MP, into the status of indigenous people in Kenya. Currently, the committee is further in the process of organizing for a high-level meeting with state and non-state actors to comprehensively deliberate and dispense with this particular statement. Mr. Speaker, on consideration of other legislative business before the committee, during the period under review, the committee also considered other additional legislative businesses which have been reported. Firstly, Mr. Speaker, the committee concluded consideration of sessional paper number 3 of 2023 on the Kenya policy on public participation, which is key in Parliament's role of meaningful and adequate stakeholder and public engagement that enriches the legislation enacted. Secondly, the Honorable Speaker, the committee is also in the process of considering the status of implementation of the resolution of the Senate of 24th of July 2024 and has already engaged with relevant institutions such as the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to follow up on measures taken to tackle corruption in the counties. The committee is further scheduled to meet with other key entities tasked with implementing these particular resolutions. With engagement with other external stakeholders, Mr. Speaker, during this period under review, the committee also met with external stakeholders, among them the Kenyans in Diaspora Technical Working Group, and considered legislative proposals aimed at bolstering and participation of Kenyans in diaspora in the general elections. This meeting will inform committee recommendations to legislative amendments which are coming in due course. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and that of the Clerk of the Senate for the continuous support accorded to the committee in undertaking its work. Lastly, I also wish to thank the members of the committee for their commitment and in contributions during the committee activities and sittings. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have attached a schedule of the bills made reference to, and one of the very specific one in that schedule, Mr. Speaker, is the latest, that is the Presidential Memorandum on the referral of the Conflict of Interest Bill, which has already been committed to this committee, and the committee is scheduled to consider it on the 13th of May this year, and a report will thereafter be tabled to the House. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I have another second statement. And Mr. Speaker, this is a statement on the nomination and vetting of the chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. This statement, Mr. Speaker, is issued pursuant to Standing Order 56-1A of the Senate Standing Orders. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1A of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to a matter for which the committee is responsible, namely the nomination and vetting of the chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. Mr. Speaker, as members may recall, this House passed the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Amendment Act 2024, Act number 9 of 2024, which paved the way for the appointment of a selection panel for the nomination of the chairperson and members of the IEBC. The panel was constituted, carried out its work, and submitted a report to His Excellency the President on Tuesday, 6th of May, 2025. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, on the 9th of May, 2025, His Excellency the President submitted the names of the nominees for the position of chairpersons and members of the IEBC to Parliament for vetting and approval to enable their formal appointment and swearing in. I take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to commend the chairperson, members, and secretariat of the selection panel that worked diligently to ensure that it delivered on its mandate of identifying and recommending persons for appointment as chairperson and members of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. I also thank His Excellency the President for moving expeditiously to submit the names to Parliament for approval, noting that the country has been without an electoral body since the President declared the 7 positions vacant on 14th of February 2023 and 1st of March 2023. Mr. Speaker, the nomination, vetting, and approval of chairperson and members of the IEBC is governed by Article 250 of the Constitution, Section 5 of the IEBC Act, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7F. Under these provisions, Honorable Speaker, the National Assembly is mandated to consider the suitability of the nominees and to either approve or reject the nominees for appointment to the respective offices. I note, Mr. Speaker, that this process has commenced with the National Assembly Justice and Legal Affairs Committee scheduled to table its report in the National Assembly on the 27th of May 2025. Mr. Speaker, sir, the work of the IEBC spans both levels of government. In particular, the election of county governors and members of county assemblies, as well as the delimitation of electoral boundaries and matters that affect the counties and their governments. Therefore, as a Senate Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights Committee, we take a keen interest in the process for the nomination and appointment of the IEBC commissioners. In our considered view, Mr. Speaker, this is a process that should be undertaken jointly by both houses, as has been the practice with the approval of nomination to state officers where their functions affect the 2 levels of government. I also wish to highlight that under Section 103, subsection 3 of the Elections Act, the election regulations formulated by the IEBC from time to time are submitted to and approved by the National Assembly to the exclusion of the Senate, even where the subject of the regulations is clearly a county government matter.
This amendment to replace the word parliament with the word National Assembly was passed in the year 2012 before the Senate was in place and was meant to apply only to the first general elections upon coming into effect of the Act, that is the 2013 general elections. However, since then, Mr. Speaker, attempts to amend the provisions to have the regulations considered by both houses have been frustrated. As members may recall, this was one of the amendments that the Senate made to the Elections Amendment number 2, Bill 2024, Senate Bills number 29 of 2024, which is currently pending before the National Assembly. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, this is one of the bills that the National Assembly has kept in its shelves for longer than it's supposed to. As I urge our counterparts to not claw back on the said provision, I also wish to state categorically that this is one of the provisions that as a committee and as a house, we will not go back on. Honorable Speaker, the forum for election is not the only one where the mandate of this particular house has been undermined through statutes enacted by Parliament. There have been several attempts, some successful, where the National Assembly has moved to amend legislation to delete the word Parliament and replace it with the word National Assembly, thus taking away from the Senate functions that should otherwise be performed or undertaken by both houses. A key example, Mr. Speaker, is the Treaty Making and Ratification Act, Cap 4D, which the National Assembly amended in the year 2014 to replace references to Parliament with the word National Assembly. The effect of this, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, has been that key treaties, conventions, and agreements that Kenya enters, even when they expressly relate to devolved functions, are not submitted to or considered by the Senate. This directly undermines the constitutional mandate of the Senate as set out under Article 96, which includes to represent and protect the interests of the counties and their governments. Mr. Speaker, members will recall that on 3 separate occasions, the Senate has processed bills to reinstate the process for ratification of treaties to be a shared function between the 2 houses, particularly, Mr. Speaker, where such instruments directly affect the mandates, functions, and operations of county governments. None of these bills have seen the light of day in the National Assembly. This deliberate clawback on the Senate's constitutional mandate through statutes which are subsidiary to the Constitution is something that we must not countenance as a House, and we must stand ready to challenge it. Mr. Speaker, I therefore wish to bring these matters to the attention of the Senate and to urge colleagues and the House to stand firmly in safeguarding the constitutional mandate of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Chairperson ICT, your statement has been reinstated. You may now proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Information, Communication and Technology for the period commencing 1st January 2025 to date. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 9 sittings, during which it considered 1 bill, 14 statements, and 2 inquiries. Mr. Speaker, on bills, the committee considered the Technopolis Bill 2024, National Assembly Bills number 6 of 2024, which was published on 22nd February 2024 and introduced in the National Assembly on the 9th April 2024. The bill was passed with amendments on 19th November 2024 and referred to the Senate. The bill was read the first time in the Senate on Wednesday, 4th December 2024 and committed to the committee for consideration. Mr. Speaker, sir, in compliance with the provisions of Article 118 of the Constitution and Standing Order 145(5) of the Senate Standing Orders, the committee committee proceeded to undertake public participation on the bill. In this regard, the committee published an advertisement on Thursday, 20th January 2025, inviting members of the public to submit written memoranda on the bill. Additionally, the committee sent invitations to key stakeholders, inviting them to submit their comments on the bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee considered the bill taking into account the views and recommendations of the public and will be tabling the report for adoption by the House. During consideration of the bill, the committee observed, among other things, that there is need for inclusion of the provision on public participation and consultation with relevant stakeholders likely to be affected by gazetting of an area as a technopolis. On statements, Honorable Speaker, 8 statements were ongoing from previous reporting period and 7 statements were sought from committee during the current period. In considering the said statements, the committee considered the statements through physical sittings with the stakeholders.
Order, honorable senators.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's hear the chair ICT in silence, please.
The committee considered the statements through physical sittings with the stakeholders and the respective senators who made the requests, while in other instances admitted written submissions and shared responses with the respective senators. Mr. Speaker, sir, the statement sought by Senator Hamida Kibwana, MP, on the sale of Telcom Kenya to Infrastructure Corporation Africa was considered by the committee and included a part of the committee inquiry into the critical telecommunication infrastructure and the dispute between ATC Kenya and Telcom Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is currently following up on the several responses from the Ministry of ICT and Digital Economy, the Communication Authority, Safaricom Limited, and Media Council of Kenya. On inquiry, Honorable Speaker, the committee is currently conducting the following inquiries. 1, inquiry into the critical telecommunication infrastructure in the country, an inquiry into operations of IFMIS and other county revenue collection and management system. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee is scheduled to conduct more county visits within the coastal and Nyanza region. Honorable Speaker, the committee extends to conduct a fact-finding visit to various counties to establish the extent of the fiber optic network coverage to county headquarters, county assemblies, government offices, and schools. This is to ensure the online access to government services is available to all. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and that of the clerk of the Senate for the continuous support according to the committee in undertaking its work. Lastly, I also wish to thank the members of the committee for their commitment, diligence, and contribution during the committee activities. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I stand pursuant to Standing Order number 56(1)B of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources during the period February to April 2025. Honorable Speaker, the Standing Committee on Land, Environment, and Natural Resources established under Standing Order number 2283 of the Senate Standing Orders and is mandated to consider all matters related to lands and settlement, environment, forestry, wildlife, mining, water resource management and development, and also aspects of climate change. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee held a total of 23 sittings, which it considered 1 bill, 7 petitions, and 1 legislative proposal, and 13 statements. Honorable Speaker, the committee held meetings with the Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, and the Minister of Interior and National Administration on pending legislative business before the committee. Through these meetings, the committee was able to comprehensively obtain responses on 8 statements from the Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, and shared them with the respective senators. There are also responses obtained from the Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage that have been dispatched to the respective senators. Honorable Speaker, it's important for the House to note that the Minister of Lands, Public Works and Housing and Urban Development has been unresponsive to a number of state invitations to appear before the committee to respond to the various legislative business pending, which includes 27 statements and 7 petitions. This has slowed down the committee's output, and the committee has since resolved to summon the Cabinet Secretary to appear before the committee, initially on the 8th of May, and now on the 14th of May, Honorable Speaker, for the aforementioned matters. In addition, written responses have been sought, with some responses still pending before the National Land Commission, and the committee is scheduled to meet the Commission on the 15th of May, that is on Thursday this week. Legislative proposal. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee considered the Electronic Equipment Disposal, Recycling and Reuse Bill 2024, a legislative proposal sponsored by Senator Peris Tobiko, MP, and the committee communicated back to the Speaker of its resolution on 18th of March 2025 pursuant to Standing Order number 133, number 133A of the Senate Standing Orders. Bills. Honorable Speaker, the committee considered and tabled a report on the Environmental Law Amendment Bill 2024, Senate Bills number 2023 of 2024. After consideration of written submissions from the National Gender and Equality Commission, the Coast Regional Budget Hub, and Casey Walter, the committee thereafter tabled its report in the Senate on the 20th of February 2025. Honorable Speaker, the committee is currently considering one bill, the Real Estate Regulation Bill, Senate Bill number 35 of 2023. The committee previously met the Council of Governors, the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, the Institute of Surveyors of Kenya, the Estate Agents Registration Board, the Kenya Alliance of Residents Associations, and the Kenya Property Developers Association. The committee is scheduled to consider the submissions and be submitting a report on the bill before the next reporting period. The Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022, is still under mediation, and the process of having the first meeting is underway. Petitions. Honorable Speaker, the committee has 9 petitions submitted to it and that are pending under consideration. The committee has since managed to consider 7 of the petitions during the reporting period, and conducted 5 county visits in Mombasa, Taita Taveta, Kisii, Homa Bay, Busia counties to conduct further investigations on the petitions. They include A, the petition concerning recognition of land ownership rights and redress of the historical land injustices in Mombasa, the petition by Marungu residents within Mchange Wanda Ward, Taita Taveta County, the petition regarding land ownership dispute of Mwananchi Settlement Scheme in Mwatate constituency of Taita Taveta County, the petition on Changara Water Pan, World Bank funded project in Busia County, and the petition on a delayed allocation of alternative land by way of resettlement or compensation for the ancestral land that was alienated by the government of Kenya for Kisii Agricultural Institute and Kisii Farmers Training Center. Honorable Speaker, the committee endeavors to ensure completion of the remainder of petitions that are pending by the next reporting period as it pursues the responses from the relevant stakeholders. Statements. Honorable Speaker, cumulatively, the committee has received a total of 173 statements